All right, so welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday. And today, today is the day after Hanuman's birthday. If you remember, yesterday was Hanuman's birthday, or earlier in the week was Hanuman's birthday, not yesterday. And so I'm in Hanuman mode, or I'm in Ramayana mode still. And my thought for you is on the actual villain of the Ramayana, right? Because in order for there to be a heroic figure in any of these stories, there has to be a villain. There has to be something that's wrong. There has to be something that is drawing the hero into their story. And you see this in pretty much every tradition, where if you can call something a hero's quest, is that's what it is. It's that events in the world or events in your life drag you into or pull you into this journey to find out who you are, right? That's what the hero's quest is, pulls you into that. So the bad guy of the Ramayana is this interesting character. His name is Ravana, and he's a demon, but he's a demon who began as a great yogi, right? That's the thing, is that he gained his power in the same way that any enlightened being would, but he got to this moment where in his mind, mentally or emotionally, is he no longer wanted to give up that power to be immersed in the world or to embrace the bigness of the world, is he wanted to hang on to it so that he had power over others. And this is what turns him into the bad guy instead of the enlightened being. It's his mind stays in that place where it says, it's me against everyone else. It's me, the individual, against everyone else. So it drags the rest of the heroic characters of the story into their journeys to find out who they are. So my suggestion is, and there's a moment in the Ramayana where Ram, the big hero of the story, meets Ravana and says, wow, he's magnificent, right? Looks at him and says, if but for our circumstances, like, we could be friends, and I think it's a pivotal moment in the story, because he knows what he has to do anyway. He's like, I have to destroy him, but he is actually sad about it, right? The hero is actually sad about having to defeat the villain, because he says there's so much magnificence in this being that if only his mind were in a different place, we would be friends, right? If only his mind were in a different attitude, or he was approaching things in a different way, if only his life had led him slightly different, we would be together instead of apart. And this is our teachings, right? Is how to live in the world where we draw each other together instead of pushing ourselves apart, pushing each other away. So my thought is can you pick out the Ravanas in your own life, right? The enemies in your life that have drawn you into your own story, or that continue to draw you into your own story. It doesn't have to be people, but it could be the things that are your fears, right? The things that are those big negative forces that seem to drag you along to seek out the light that you are, or that seek out your inner strength, or that put you on this journey to even get you to where you are now, right? And can you see in those people or those circumstances the magnificence of it, right? Can you see where there's a power in those moments, even as dark or terrible as they may have seemed, that they brought you something that gave you access to yourself, right? Gave you access to your heart, gave you access to your soul, put you on a path to find out who you are, right? So it's erasing this divide that we have between the things in our lives that are our enemies, our obstacles, our difficulties, our fears, and instead bringing them back into that feeling of unity that says, if only for a different understanding, that this is my enlightenment, right? So comfortable seat, eyes closed if you're not there already. And it's however this sits with you, right? So there's always the thing that we say is you don't always go into this sort of mental practice and say, I'm going to choose the most challenging individual who really just drives me out of my mind. Maybe don't start with that. But find something in your life that you would categorize as that driving force of fear and anxiety, an obstacle. And it can be a person, doesn't have to be. But to recognize the demonic forces, what we call demonic, the destructive forces in your life, in yourself, and how they have driven you to maybe seek something more, something different. So recognizing the magnificence in that, and that as hard as those energies drive us, is it drives us to become as great as they are. So the practice of yoga is realizing that whatever it is that you fear, it is never more than what you are. So dropping into your breath, hanging on to that idea of there being more to you than what you fear. Headless meditation. So imagine that at the top of your neck, the head just dissolves. And all that's there is this endless blue sky. And so filling your mind, filling your whole perception, the head disappears. And at the top of your neck, there is only blue sky. And into that, you can pour all of your fears, your anxieties, your discomforts, your complaints. And the blue sky will always be more. And the blue sky will still be as free and open. And it will never not be free and open. Even if clouds obscure your vision, as the blue sky is still there behind the clouds. You breathe that in, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. And within that blue sky, there are all of the energies that are what uplifts us, and there are all of the energies that drive us through fear. They're driving us to the same place. To know yourself. Blue sky. One more deep breath in. And then either bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or placing the hands on the heart, whatever feels like it's more appropriate to you. Sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can keep that headlessness as much as you want, right? Keep dropping this sort of mind process, thought process that keeps wanting to label things as good or bad or evil or heroic or whatever. And just maybe let there be that feeling that all of that outpouring of the mind just keeps falling into that endless blue sky. And so you don't have to keep it, right? That's the beauty of this practice, is you don't have to keep anything, right? So come forward to hands and knees. Good. Begin to cat and cow, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Good. And then breathe through your spine, inhaling, lifting the chest up, tail up, exhaling, curling and rounding. Yes, put your cats to the side. Move your spine. And lots of you have cats, so it could be any one of you. Good. And I was thinking this weekend, because again, it was Ram's birthday and then it was Hanuman's birthday. So there's been a lot of, in the chanting world, a lot of chanting for Hanuman, a lot of chanting for Ram this last weekend. The Hanuman Chalisa is, verse after verse of all of the great attributes of Hanuman and all of the great things that he does, et cetera, et cetera. And it said that if you chant even just one, right, that each verse is its own Maha mantra, its own complete mantra. You don't need all of them. You just need one. But that by chanting it or listening to it, as it removes our fear, we become fearless. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Walk your hands back, bring your hands up to your hips. So you're in a high kneeling position. And then stretch your right leg out wide to the right. Good. Heel in line with your left knee. So slide it slightly forward. Take your arms out wide, letter T. Good. And then you're actually leaning away from that extended leg. So lean out to the left, extend your ribs out to the left, reach. Good. And then stretch your right arm over the ear as well. So both arms are reaching out to the left. Beautiful. Press into that right heel, navel to spine, ribs in, reach, reach, reach. Good. And then fold from your waist, come all the way back up, arms wide, letter T. Beautiful. And now reach to the right, extend out through your rib cage. So don't immediately reach for the leg, but extend all the way out. Again, almost like that triangle position where you're extending through your ribs. Good. And then let that hand touch down to the leg wherever it rests. Left arm over the ear. Good. Keep your ribs softening from the front to the back. Keep your throat moving back. Nice, you guys. So to become fearless, I think, means that we have to understand what our fear is driving us to completely realize. because that's all the fear is, right? It's some aspect of you or some part of you that you have not yet figured out, and so you run from it. Come all the way back up to center, please. Keep the leg extended. Release your hands down to the floor. Forward fold, or walk yourself out like you're in a one-legged down dog. Yep, just exactly where you are. Just walk your hands out. Good. And then try to really roll that right inner thigh back and wide. So it's like you're sending that top of your right hip slightly wide to the right, balancing your pelvic bones. Good. Again, as best as they can. They might not want to or feel like they can be equal in this position. That's all right. Good. One more breath, dropping through the chest. Nice. And then walk yourself all the way back in, please. Come back to hands and knees. Good. Cat-cow your spine. Nice. So to remove our fears is not to be able to outrun them, because we'll never outrun them. To remove them is to actually see what's hiding behind. What's the magnificence that's waiting to be realized, or that needs to be understood because you've been confused about it. Good. Come back to stillness again. Walk your hands back. Find your hands at your hips. High kneeling position. Take your left leg out wide to the left. Good. Heel in line with the right knee. Stretch your arms out wide, letter T. And again, you're reaching away from the extended leg. So extend the right rib cage wide to the right. So go as long as you can. Awesome, Lisa, you've got the door. And then take the left arm over the ear as well. So that's perfect. So really push your hands into the door. Yeah, and get the push back of the pelvis. Good. Reach, 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 you guys. As far out as you can. Parallel the floor. Go. Yes. Good. And then using those waist muscles, pull yourself all the way back up, arms out wide. Nice. And now reach the other direction. So towards the extended leg, but don't reach directly for the leg. Just reach out straight, parallel to the floor. Move your rib cage to the left. So you're not just curling to the left, you're literally moving the ribs. Good. And then let that left hand touch down, slide it down the leg, any amount. Take the right arm over the ear. Good. And even here, can you start to feel the tops of your thighs rotating slightly in towards the center of your pelvis? So there's not this feeling of pushing through the hips, but it's a rolling inward, a softening of the thigh creases. Good. Throat draws back. Nice. And then come all the way back up. Nicely done, you guys. Release the hands down to the floor in front of you. Walk the hands forward like you're in down dog with the leg extended. And same thing. You're sending those inner thighs rolling in and back. So it might seem like you're actually trying to lift that right side belly a little bit higher and wider so your left hip can spin forward. There you go. Good. Then again, dropping wide through your chest, pulling the tops of the thighs back in space. So again, like your back is elongating like in down dog. So you're getting long, long, long through the middle spine, lower spine. Good. And then walk yourself all the way back in. Nice. And come back to downward facing dog. So first to hands and knees, tuck your toes, lift the hips. Beautiful. Nice, you guys. Stretch the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split when you're ready. Come up high on the ball of your left foot. So squeeze that heel up, 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 and then squeeze the legs towards each other. Hips go higher as you squeeze the feet against each other. Squeeze the ankles towards each other. Good. And then lift the top of your sternum again so that you have that length in your upper spine. Nice. Relax the left heel towards the floor. Kick your right thigh higher. Beautiful. And then step the right foot between the hands. Lunge. Good. Inhale both arms to the sky. High lunge. Beautiful. Bend the back knee as well. So both knees are bent. Pull that back thigh forward, 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 and move your right hip back. So you're actually pulling the knees to be almost 90 degrees, both legs. Interlace your fingers. Press the heels of your hands up. Deep breath in, and then exhale as you round. Bring the arms straight forward, pulling back through the armpits, but lifting your hip points up. Good. Keep both knees bent. Inhale the arms back up to straight. Beautiful. And one more time, exhale, curl, round, forward, push out through the armpit. So the back of the rib cage gets really, really full. Keep both knees bent a lot. Good. Inhale the arms back up to the sky. Beautiful. Straighten your back thigh. Release the hands down to the floor. Left hand plants, right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Deep breath. Lift that right shoulder a little higher. That's it. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Don't ask why. know. Good. Straighten your right thigh, please. You're just moving into triangle. That's why I said, don't ask why. Don't get attached to warrior two. Extend through that right rib cage, please. Reach out beyond the toes and pause. Stack that left rib cage on top of the right. So really working those side waist muscles, squeezing the feet towards each other. Good. Let that right hand touch down wherever it naturally does. Left arm up to the sky. Beautiful. Good. Drawing the low ribs back and in. So get more full through the back body. Throat back. Nice, Laura. Good, Harriet. Nice, Emily. Beautiful. You guys reach up through that left hand a little higher so you get lighter through that right arm. Nice, Lisa. And then bend your right knee again. Good. Release both hands down to the floor inside the front foot. Good. Spin your back heel up, square your hips. And then walk your fingertips straight ahead. So lizard pose, come up on your fingertips with a long spine. Good. Pull your hips back in space. Beautiful. Collarbones stay lifted. Nice. So funny, right? That it's funny to me because I know the story, but in the Ramayana, Ravana's reputation is that he's never been defeated in battle, and he's, battled all of these great beings. Walk your hands back in, please. Good. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Parsvottanasana. Use blocks underneath the hands if you need. So he has this, incredible reputation of all the things that he's done and the people that he's defeated. But then in some of the backstory, if you read, some of those encounters, is that all of them were technically, quote unquote, won on technicalities, right? He hasn't done half of the things that he's credited as having done. And this is the nature of our fear, right? Is it's not as big as we think that it is. It's not as absolute as we're sure that it is. Our failings are not as absolute as we're convinced that they are. So this is where, again, your fear has the ability, or your challenges have the ability to drive you into that blue sky space where you find more. And we succeed in that when we remember that what's driving us is not as bad and not as distinctly separate from us as we assume that it is, as we make it out to be. Good. Bend that right knee, please. Walk your fingertips forward, step up, standing split. Left thigh parallels the floor. Good. Make sure your hands are touching something. Come up on the tippy toes of your right foot. Yep. So standing leg, come up on the toes. And then again, squeeze the ankles towards each other so it feels like your hips are going higher. Good. Flex that foot in the air. Beautiful. And then soften that right heel back to the floor, but keep that feeling of lifting through the pelvis, squeezing the legs. Awesome. And then release the left foot forward alongside the right, standing forward fold. Good. Hold opposite elbows for a moment. Hang. You can bend the knees a little bit if you'd like. Let the upper body sway from side to side. Good. And then releasing the hands back to the floor. Separate your feet nice and wide. Turn the toes out. Bend your knees. Come down, squat. Again, I know it's early, so if a full squat is not a possibility, you can hang out in chair or stay a little bit higher up, more like a goddess pose. Good. Let the right hand touch down inside that right foot. Take your left arm up to the sky. Good. Harriet, give a little bit more of a squeeze of I want you to move your right butt cheek wider to the right. There you go. Yep. Release and switch. Left hand down to the floor, right arm to the sky. Good. I'm drawing in of the inner knees. Awesome, you guys. Release that hand down to the floor, please. Good job. Straighten the legs. Turn your toes forward. Beautiful. Heel toe your feet closer together. Plant the hand, step or jump yourself back to plank. Always bonus points if you jump. Good. And then lower down slow to your belly, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Keep your left hand where it is. Stretch your right arm forward in front of you, fingertips on the floor, straight ahead. So it's a one-armed cobra. So as you lift up head, neck, and chest, you're going to lift that right arm up alongside your shoulder. So it's lifting up with you. So lift up head, neck, and chest. Left hand plants to the floor. Right arm lifts with you. So you're not keeping that right hand on the floor. Good. And then release, please. Plant the right hand, elbow bent. Stretch your left arm out in front of you. Same thing. Rise up cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Purposefully doing a lot of things that are just sort of annoyingly challenging. And then release and switch. Left hand plants to the floor, right arm extends forward. Because I want you to see that in the challenge, there's this sense of finding power that you didn't know that you had, or you didn't even know you had to look. Rise up, lift up if you're not there already. Good. And then release, plant the right hand, take the left arm forward. Good. Rise up, lift up head, neck, and chest. Hand lifts up at the same time. Root those feet. And then release. Right side again. Last time. Right arm extends. Good. Rise up. And release. Plant the right hand. Left arm extends forward. Rise up. Keep those feet on the ground. Don't clench your butt. There you go. And release. Both hands plant. Press back up to hands and knees. Child's pose. I know it's helpful if I just admit it, right? Then I'm going to choose really annoying things to do today. Then you just know what's coming. But what prompts you to actually seek out the power that you have? It's our challenges. And to see the magnificence that there's an opportunity in those challenges or in those forces that seem like they're so detrimental or so destructive, as it drives us to be more of what we are, to balance that. We become lighter when we're confronted with our own darkness, or at least we can. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we run the other direction. Good. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees, press back downward facing dog. But that's the point of yoga, right? It's why it was developed as a thing, is to notice how often you're running in the other direction from your greatness, right? You're running away from your power. Left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Come up on the ball of that right foot. Good. Squeeze the feet towards each other. So again, it feels like the hips are lifting, lifting, lifting. Good. And then keep that feeling, soften that right heel towards the floor, but stay with that feeling of power in the legs, power in your back. Good. Step the left foot between the hands, lunge. Inhale, both arms to the sky, high lunge. Bend your back knee a lot and pull that thigh forward. And then your left hip is going to spin back. So you're squaring the hips to the front of your mat and you're really pulling that back thigh as forward as you can. Move your hips back in space. So again, you have a deep bend in both legs. Good. Interlace the fingers, press the heels of the hands up towards the sky. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bring the arms forward, rounding into the rib cage. Press through the back of your ribs. Good. Inhale the arms back up to the sky. Keep that bend in the knees. I know. And then exhale. Take the arms forward again, round. Lift your pelvic bones. Good. And then take the arms back up to the sky. Nice. Straighten the back thigh. Release the hands down to the floor. Right hand plants, left arm lifts, spinal twist. Good. Keep a little scoop to your belly so that you bring that left knee forward over your ankle. And so your thighs, your butt has to work a little bit differently. Nice. Release that hand down to the floor, please. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Again, lucky you, you're not holding it there. Straighten the front thigh. Preparation for triangle pose, but notice when you straighten that knee. So bend it again for a second. Watch that it's pointing at the second or third toe. When you straighten the knee, don't let the knee waver. Don't let it roll in or out. As you straighten the leg, your knee points at the same place. Good. And if it means that you can't lock your knee, hallelujah, don't lock your knee. Good. And then reach the left rib cage forward. Don't let that knee roll in or out. So now you've got to really focus on your hip alignment. Extend, extend, extend. Good. And then let that left hand touch down to where it naturally comes to rest. Don't insist that it's got to be in a certain place on your leg or on a block. Right arm to the sky. Good. Stacking the right rib cage on the left. So you're opening through the side body, drawing that front rib cage into the back. Good. Soften your chin towards your chest so that you have a straight line through your throat instead of that looking up. Good. It's funny. Where are you looking up to in triangle, right? Your ceiling? Nothing exciting, right? Eyes are looking to the blue sky. There's nothing in front of you that is more important than that. Good. One more breath. Reach through that right side. Good. And then bend the left knee, please. Release the hands down to the floor. Both hands come inside the front foot. Spin up your back heel. Walk your fingertips straight ahead, lizard pose. So as your fingertips come forward, your arms extend forward. You got to pull back through your pelvis. So pull your hips up and back. Good. Back thigh lifts a little higher. Don't let that front knee come beyond the ankle. Good. And then lift the back of your throat. Yep. Full long spine. That's it. Widen those inner thighs, but squeeze the feet together. Beautiful. Really good, Carolina. And then walk your hands back in, please. Step that right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Use blocks underneath the hands if you need. Good. I'm saying Ravana is one of those characters that, you know, if he were an actual person, it'd be the type of person that's just so easy to be annoyed by because everybody does. Right? He has this very attractive quality to him. So, you know, people tend to like him. People tend to want to follow him. People tend to want to go along with whatever he's got in his mind. And then, of course, if they don't, he threatens them. So there's that. But by his own nature is he has this attractive quality, right? So we have to start to look at those places in us where we are attracted to what's not good for us, where we run away from what's empowering, or we run towards something that is destructive for whatever reason. Instead, can you let those influences drive you to your best self? Good, you guys. Bend that left knee. Please walk your fingertips straight ahead. Step up, standing split. Right thigh parallels the floor. Make sure that your hands are touching something. Come up on the tippy toes of your left foot. So lift that standing heel. Again, pulling up through the side of your thigh, through the side of your hip, through the belly. Pull up, pull up, pull up. And then squeeze your feet towards each other. So that squeezing of the legs, they get more powerful and your hips lift higher. Good. And then relax that left heel to the floor. Again, maybe softening the knee, kick your right thigh higher, still with that power of the legs. Awesome. And then release the right foot forward alongside the left. Good. Bend the knees softly, hold opposite elbows, hang for a moment. Again, swaying from side to side if you'd like, or just stay where you are. Right? The swaying is optional. It's whatever gets you to drop that feeling of trying to maintain control of what's going on. Release the hands back down to the floor. Please separate your feet nice and wide. Turn your toes out, bend your knees, come down, squat. Good. And again, planting the right hand inside the right knee. Take your left arm up to the sky, open twist. Try to keep your weight equal on your feet. So you got to lean a little bit more onto that left foot. That's it, Emily. Good. And then release the hand and switch. Left arm inside the knee. Take the right arm up to the sky. Again, knowing that automatically you're going to lean towards that left side because it feels like there's more support. So instead, move your weight onto the right foot. Good. Release the hand. Really good, Harriet. Nice, you guys. Good. Come up on your tippy toes in your squat. Plant your hands in front of you as though you're going into crow. So you might not go into it right now, but walk your hands slightly forward. Good. Let your weight fall onto your hands. Bend your elbows a little bit. Round your back. Lift your chest. Gaze beyond your fingertips. Good. And then play. Again, if you want to come into that crow pose, go ahead. If you're just working with one leg at a time, bring one knee up to the shelf of that same arm. Good. You got to squeeze everything in. So it's like you're hugging your legs against your arms or against your ribs. Beautiful. Awesome, you guys. Release the feet back to the floor, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Nice. Be grateful I didn't suggest to you that you go straight from crow into chaturanga, rise up into upward facing dog, jump back into downward facing dog. I know that's very Ashtanga. We're not doing that. Don't worry. Good. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. I'm just saying we could. Step your right foot forward between the hands. Good. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Nice, you guys. Good. Take the hands back behind you, please. Interlace your fingers at your low spine. Keep the legs in this warrior two position, but turn your ribs forward to face the top of your mat. Good. Then you're bowing inside that front thigh. So take the arms up and over any amount, but keep your back heel rooted to the floor. So you still have that same warrior two orientation of the legs. Don't let the hips pop out to the side. Squeeze that right butt cheek in so that you're in line with your ankles. And turn your ribs. So left ribs have to turn forward a lot. Again, this is getting into that twist of your waist. Beautiful. And then unwind. Come all the way back up. Take the arms back out wide, warrior two. Good. Straighten the front thigh. Nice. Reach the right arm forward, extending the rib cage, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Pause. Stack the left rib cage on top of the right. So turn your chest open a little more, and then drop that right hand down to where it naturally comes to rest, left arm to the sky. Good. Watch the tendency to push forward through the thighs here and to push forward through the ribs. So take the top of your back thigh, soften it in, let your butt pop out just a little bit. Good. Nice, Mark. Good, Lauren, bring that hand a little bit further forward towards the front of your face, to the front of your chest. You soften the shoulder. There you go. Awesome, you guys. Bend that right knee, please. Take your left hand to your left hip. Take your gaze forward beyond your toes, Ardha Chandrasana. So bring that right hand forward to the floor or a block, and then step up onto that right leg, stack the left hip, toes turn to the side. So it's like triangle pose, just shifted onto its side. Awesome. Nice. Strong legs. So again, that feeling of squeezing the feet towards each other and pressing the inner thigh of that lifted leg up. Good. Pressing the outer thigh up. Nice. Work with that feeling of resistance. And then maybe with that feeling of squeezing the feet, draw the shoulders in towards the center of your back, navel to spine. See if you can get lighter on your right hand, maybe even floating that hand up off of the floor or off of your block. Yeah, hover for a moment. Nice. You might have to soften your standing knee. Totally okay. Beautiful. Nice, Lisa. Good, Laura. Good. Good, everybody. Nice, Harriet. And then take that hand back to the floor, please. Step yourself back. Left foot finds the floor. Hands find the floor. Downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward. Plank pose. Lower down to your belly. Good. Hands behind your head, please. Forehead to the floor. Lift the elbows off of the floor. Keep your feet planted, front of your shins planted, tops of your thighs planted. And then begin to lift head, neck, and chest. Keep your gaze straight down. So you're pushing the back of your head up into your hands, crocodile pose. So the back of your heart lifts. Good. And then as you lift up, go as high as you think you can go. And then I want you to squeeze those elbows down and in just a little bit. Good. And then get your throat stronger. Press up. Beautiful. And then release your forehead back to the floor. Take your arms out to 90 degrees. So like cactus arms. So just take the hands off of the back of the head. Good. But palms and inner elbows flat to the floor. There you go. 90-degree angles. Good. And then same thing, pressing down through the legs, lift up head, neck, and chest, float the arms up alongside you in that cactus arm position. Good. Get your wrists as high as your elbows. Yeah. So that might mean that you have to soften your elbows down so your wrists lift up. So hollow the elbows forward towards the floor. Rotate your elbows down, wrists up. Yeah, other way. Good, you got it. Yeah, you got it. And then release. Nice, you guys. Now walk the hands back to Cobra, planting the hands, finding where your elbows are in again at a 90-degree angle. So your wrists and your elbows are making that 90-degree angle. Emily, take your hands a little wider, right and left. Good. Now pressing into your hands from there, drag your chest forward, lift up head, neck, and chest. I know. If you're like, oh, I can't go as high as I usually do, don't complain. If you're going higher than you usually do, fantastic. You unlock your shoulders. Good. Downward facing dog, please release. Nice. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down, dog split. Beautiful. Step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Again, so you're finding that openness of the rib cage here, widening your left inner knee. So again, you're setting the knee so it's in line with second or third toe, middle of the foot, pressing wide. And then your ribs are moving the other direction. So once you found that rotation, take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. Good. And then start to turn your ribs forward, but try and keep that feeling of the outer right hip spinning wide. Yep. And now bow inside the front thigh, taking the arms up and over any amount. So you are turning your ribs forward towards the floor, but you're still trying to maintain this feeling of your back thigh, your inner thigh pulling up and wide, and that outer hip really pulling away or lengthening away from the front hip. Good. So your pelvis stays really wide. Good. Squeeze that left butt cheek in towards the midline. Yeah. And then come all the way back up. Stretch the arms back out wide. Warrior two. Good. And then straighten the front thigh, paying attention to where your knee points. Don't let it waver in or out as you straighten the leg. Don't let it roll. And then extend out through the left rib cage. Good. Trikonasana. Extend, extend, extend. Pause. Good. And then let that left hand touch down. Right arm comes to the sky. Good. The characters in your life, whether they are big ones, global ones, or they are very small, individual ones, that kid that used to make fun of you in kindergarten, or, the first boyfriend or girlfriend who broke up with you or rejected you or whatever. There's all these places where there have been these forces in our life that give us a chance to either tear ourselves down or find the more. And it's whatever our habit is. We're either really good at tearing ourselves down, or we become very skillful at finding what's more. Right hand to your right hip, please. Take your gaze down towards the floor, bend that left knee, Ardha Chandrasana. So slide that hand forward. And similar to that feeling that you had to have if you were doing crow, right? That you're actually holding yourself really through that internal core, is activate that here so that you're not just relying on your hand on a block or the floor to hold you up. You're squeezing the ankles towards each other. Good. So there's a power in your legs. So Carolina, bring that foot forward, forward, forward. There you go. Yep. And then opening the chest. Awesome, you guys. And then see if you can do that, squeezing the feet together, squeezing the arms up into the shoulders, and see if you can get lighter on your left hand, maybe even floating it up off the floor. Good. If you let everything fall forward, you're not going to maintain balance. So those hips have to pull up and back. Awesome, you guys. Nice, Lisa. Nice, Emily. Release it. Nice, Mark. Release that hand back to the floor, please. Step that right foot back and down. Downward facing dog. Thank you. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good. Lower down slow to your belly. Beautiful. Bend your knees, kick your heels in towards your butt. Good. Don't reach for your feet, but stretch your arms back as though you're going to reach for your feet. And then lift up head, neck, and chest. Lift your thighs up, again, as though you're doing boat pose, but don't reach for your feet. Just float the arms up, up, up. Lift your thighs up. Good. Keep those heels squeezing in. So again, you have to use the power of your legs, the power of your back, navel in. Lift those arms higher. Good. That's it. Lift your thighs higher. Yeah, lift your heart higher. Awesome. And then slowly release. Nice job, you guys. Good. Forehead to the floor, or turn one cheek to the side. Relax the legs. Breathe for a moment. It is some of the most challenging things if we say we're getting over an obstacle that was, we think, caused by another person or a set of circumstances. Because we can rationalize however we want to make ourselves out to be who we think we want to be in those circumstances, and to think better of ourselves or to move past the moment. But I think we only heal those things, or we really resolve them, when we also see the place that the other person or the other beings existed in that moment. What their journey was, what their experience was. Whether we agree with it, understand it, like it or not is irrelevant. But if we can't see ourselves in relationship with those other beings, is that we continue to perpetuate separateness. Turn your cheek to the other side. And our obstacles and our fears then become an excuse for us to only be okay as long as we convince ourselves that things are a certain way. So can you drop all of that, pour yourself back into that blue sky that says, whatever my fears, my anxieties, my insecurities that I've built up, is that what if they were all pointing me to my greatness and I just missed the point, missed the roadmap, or I haven't seen it yet. Clouds haven't moved, or I'm not yet at the top of the mountain where I can see. So when we reach for that magnificence, even in those beings that seem to be destructive in our lives, we say, if only for a difference in circumstances, we could be friends. This could be different. And you find that in you, the friendliness in you. You find the maitri, the loving kindness, compassion. And it may be that that one being unlocked it in you, and then you carry it forward into the rest of your life forever, and everybody benefits. So we say the villains are really the ones that drive the hero's story. Otherwise, the hero would just stay home and hang out. Forehead to the floor, walk your hands back in, please. Downward facing dog. So those forces that have driven you in your life in any direction towards greatness, towards awareness. Say, the magnificence of those beings. The perfect time and place to direct you. Walk your feet forward towards your hands. Good. Bend your knees, drop your hips back into chair, take your arms up alongside your ears. Good. And then come up on your tippy toes of your feet, still in chair, dropping the hips a little lower, a little lower, a little lower. Good. Yep. Hug, hug, hug. Lift your chest. Beautiful. And then plant the heels, please. Back to that chair pose. Lift your hips a little higher. Yeah, I know that's the hard part. And then come all the way back up to stand. Nice job. Take hold. Right hand holds your left wrist and reach to your right. I always have to do that in my mind to make sure that I tell you to lean the right way. Good. Come back up to center. Switch the hands. Lean to your left. Nice. Again, almost like you're doing triangle here. So get that feeling of really stretching through the rib cage, through the whole side waist, from your armpit all the way down through your ribs, through your waist, through your thigh. Good. And then come all the way back up to center. Nice. Release the hands, please. Right leg is your standing leg. Bend your left knee, kick your heel back behind you, and reach back left hand for the foot or the ankle. So same hand to the same side foot. Good. Right arm comes to the sky, or you can place that hand behind your head, your choice. Good. Yeah, just starting with that feeling of lifting your hip points up. So you're getting a neutrality to your pelvis, so a length to the front of your pelvis. Drop the tail. Good. And then start to move that left knee back in space just a little bit. So you, again, get the feeling of the thigh moving back as your pelvis lifts up. Pelvis continues to tilt up. Good. Kick that foot into your hand, please. Lift yourself a little higher, a little taller, and then start to hinge forward, lean forward, like you're looking out over a cliff is the way I like to think of it. You're looking up and over something. So you pull up through your pelvis and then kick that foot into your hand, moving into dancer pose. Good. Keep your chest lifted. Right armpit lifted, head pressing back into the hand if your hand is behind your head. And you don't have to come forward far. Feel the relationship between your thigh and your pelvis. Good. And then bring it all the way back up. Nice job. Release that foot to the floor. Good. Bend your knees, drop into a little chair pose, arms up alongside your ears. So instead of your usual sort of wiggle where you awkwardly try and decide what was the end of that pose and setting up for the second side, just drop into chair. And then come all the way back up to stand. Good. Prepare for the second side. Left leg, standing leg. Bend your right knee. Kick your heel in. Right? It's bizarre how often we just fidget inside, outside. Left arm to the sky or hand behind your head, your choice. So again, starting with just that lift of your hip points. So you feel that pulling up through the front of your thighs, the dropping of your tail. And then letting your right knee slide back in space. And this might already feel like a quad stretch just to be in that position. And then you move that thigh back just a little bit more. Let the knees slide back a little bit more, kicking your foot into your hand. Good. And then again, lifting taller. So pull up through your pelvis and lean forward, hinge forward. Good. So as you hinge forward, it's like you're looking up and over the edge of something. So your chest has to stay lifted. Your armpit stays open wide. Head back into your hand. Nice, Mark. Good. Lean forward a little more and kick that thigh higher, but pay attention, that relationship of your thigh and your pelvis, pelvic bones lift up. Good. And then slowly come all the way back up. Nice job. Drop that right foot back to the floor. Send yourself back into chair. Again, not with a big deal, just to release through the front of the thighs. Good. And then walk yourself. Come all the way back up to straight legs. You're not walking anywhere. Not sure what I was saying. Good. Right leg, standing leg again. Bend your left knee, kick your heel in. This time, reach back with your right hand for the foot or the ankle. So a little twist. Good. Try to draw that heel towards the outer edge of your left butt cheek. Good. Left arm to the sky or hand behind your head. Yeah, and this might be enough, right? Just to hang out in this sort of twisted quad stretch position. But any amount that you want to kick that foot back into your hand, move your knees slightly back, coming into a little bit of a twisted dancer pose. Go ahead and let yourself move forward, keeping that lift of your pelvic bones. So the pelvic bones continue to lift up. Good. Beautiful. Nice, Laura. Nice, Harriet. Nice, Mark. Awesome, you guys. Slowly bring it all the way back up and let it go. Good. Yeah, wiggle however you want, fidget. Awesome. Let your mind go, whether you like that or not. And try the second side. So left leg, standing leg, bend your right knee. Reach back, left hand for the foot or the ankle, so the opposite hand. Right arm to the sky or hand behind your head. And again, it might be plenty to just hang out in this twisted quad stretch where your heel is moving towards the outer edge of your right butt cheek. So it's not crossing midline, staying wide. Good. And you're trying to keep the ribs as square as you can, but of course there's going to be a little twist. And then any amount, kick that foot into the hand, move the thigh back. Again, lifting as tall as you can through your pelvis, hinge forward. Good. Keeping that left armpit reaching up. Nice, Lauren. Nice, Lisa. Good. Really good, Laura. And then slowly release, come all the way back up, let the foot go. Beautiful. Shake it out. Separate your feet nice and wide, bend your knees, come down, squat. Good. Are you convinced of your magnificence yet? Or do you take every wobble to be an indication that you're less than you should be? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I know. Take your hands to the floor. Crow pose. Let yourself come up on your tippy toes. Let your weight come onto your hands. Even if you're not lifting your feet today, come forward enough so that the tops of your shoulders are reaching almost to the tips of your fingers and the elbows are bent and you're rounding your back. So get your butt to feel really lifted and hug those inner knees, inner thighs. So your butt has to go high here. Good. And then as you squeeze in, hug the arms, hug the shoulders. Gaze forward beyond the tips of your fingers. If you look all the way straight down, it's going to pull your weight down. Yeah, you got it. Even if you're just lifting your butt and working with one leg. Awesome. Take the feet back to the floor, please. Nice job. Step back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward and wide, pigeon pose. Knee goes towards your outer wrist. Good. Again, sending the pelvis towards square. So outer left hip, back hip spins forward. Good. Make sure that front foot is really awake, either pointed or flexed, but shin pushing down. Good. And then walk your hands forward, please. Stay up on your fingertips for a moment. Walk to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. So move yourself, get into your sideways. So stay close to the floor. Just walk yourself to the right. Good. So again, breathing into the left side ribs. Good. Still working your pelvic bones square to the floor. So let that left hip drop forward. Awesome. Come back to center, please. Walk yourself to the left. Letting your right butt cheek still reach for the floor. Good. Come back to center, please, either on fingertips or dropping down to your elbows. Bend your left knee, kick your heel towards your butt, reach back, right hand for the foot or the ankle, twisting quad stretch. I know you were hoping that you would just get to hang out in pigeon. Chest open. Let that right butt cheek continue to reach for the floor. Yeah. Drop it all into the blue sky, whatever thought there is. Good. Release the foot, please. Release the hands. Take a moment or two. Just drop to your forearms, your forehead, your resting pigeon. Right. All of the epic stories, the Indian stories, are meant to remind us that when they say there's a battle that's happening, is that it's not an external battle, not really. It's always internal. It's always a metaphor for what's going on in our mind and our hearts. And the Ramayana is not different, right? Ravana is this attractive creature who is also destructive, who also hoards, who also wants everything for himself and feels no allegiance or connection to others. And parts of us act that way when we're not paying attention. Sometimes when we are paying attention. And so we can see the magnificence that is interrupted in that way of being. The greatness that could be if only that person's mind or mentality or energy was directed towards unity. So once you can see it, you look for that magnificence in you. Turn yourself towards that inner unity, outer unity. Walk yourself back up, please. Sit towards that right hip. Swing your left leg around in front of you to the front of your mat. Good. Right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. Good. And again, so inhale the arms up to the sky here. We'll do it this way. Yep. A little twist to your left, Janu Shirshasana. So bow over that left leg. Good. Figure out what drives you to your greatness. So without Ravana, none of the rest of the story takes place. Without him, Ram doesn't remember who he is. Hanuman never remembers who he is, doesn't do any of the things that he sets out to do. And a lot of things remain out of balance, out of whack, unhappy. Those driving forces in your life, the ones that cause you to seek out, where is happiness, where is unity, where is my self that I want to be? Walk yourself all the way back up. Good. If you can balance here with that right knee bent as it is, keep it there. If you need to stretch it out for balance, go ahead, because you're going to draw your left knee in towards your chest. Yep. And you're going to reach for, so reach inside, left hand reaches for the inside. Yep, inside the knee, sorry, reaches for the baby toe. You're going to extend that leg out to the side. So again, if balancing here requires the right leg to be straight, go ahead and straighten it. Good. Otherwise, you can keep that knee bent. You got it. Left leg is extended out to the left. Perfect. Right arm can extend out to the right. Beautiful. Leaning forward towards the front edge of your sit bones. Good. Yeah, you're good there, Lisa. Just push that foot into the hand, any amount straight that it'll go. Good, Lauren. Beautiful, you guys. And then bring that left leg forward straight in front of your chest. Keep that left hand holding it. Bring your right hand to your foot as well. So now the leg is straight out in front of you. Both hands reaching for the foot, the ankle, the calf, whatever you can find. Deep breath in, get tall. Belly up to your thigh. Good. And then exhale, bow your head towards that leg any amount. Good. Beautiful, you guys. And then slowly release. Pull that knee back in towards your chest. I know. I told you I was going to choose a lot of things that were just ridiculously difficult. Cross your ankles, roll forward to hands and knees, downward facing dog. Good news is that this is the last ridiculous sequence. So you just have to survive the second side and you're good. Left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring that knee forward in wide pigeon pose. Sliding the right leg back. Good. Turning those hips parallel or level to the front of your mat. Walk your hands forward. Stay on your fingertips. And walk yourself to the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Good. Again, breathing into that right side. Again, stay close to the floor. So don't hang up higher because you think that that's going to make it easier. Stay low. You can even be on your elbows. That's okay. Just make sure that you're moving your whole shoulder girdle to the side. Good. Walk back to center, please, and then move to your right. It's interesting to watch the places in your mind where you go through something difficult, and do you go through it and you actually let yourself be proud of or happy with your effort? Or are you immediately looking for what was wrong? Should have been easier, should have been different. So you made it through, but you're not happy about it because of whatever. Walk yourself back in, please, back to center. Good. Did we go to both sides?
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. So onto your fingertips or forearms, bend that right knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, reach back left hand for the foot or the ankle. Good. Letting that left butt cheek continue to reach for the floor, even though you're in the quad stretch. Continue to let your pelvis settle. Ribs open. Nice. Beautiful, you guys. And then release that foot back down to the floor, please. Release the forearms forward. Walk yourself into your resting pigeon, whatever that looks like. So maybe it's a pillow with your hands or a block. Good. Releasing through the back of your ribs, breathing wider into your lower back. Good. I think the point is we always start with the villain is they're almost always, right? The greatest villains are the ones that had the potential to be so great, such great heroes, if only they had made slightly different choices. Life had happened differently for them. And we're meant to really take that to be that this is us, as we have the opportunity day after day, moment after moment, to either align ourselves with that greatness that we are, moving towards unity, moving towards understanding, compassion, balance. Or sometimes we fall into those moments where we really just want things to be the way we want them to be. We push others away, or we ignore the reality that they're living in too. Right? So the yogi or the demon, the hero or the villain, they both exist inside of us. And so to say that we can remove all fear is to remove to remove the illusion that somehow all of those negative aspects of ourselves are going to disappear. Right? Our fear is that we're always in that battle between one or the other. But if we really understood those darker aspects of ourselves that are driving us to seek our greatness, then maybe the fear would disappear and we would just know that that's a trigger or that's a place that says, go the other way, dummy. Where's the greatness in this? Where's the unity? Walk your hands back up, please. Sit towards that left hip, swing your right leg around in front of you. Again, bringing the left foot to the inside of the right thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist to your right, and then bow forward. So you can play the game just with yourself and say, where are the places in me that I tear myself down over and over again? Those are my own demonic forces. And that doesn't mean that the heroic parts of us or the enlightened parts of us will never recognize if we've made a mistake or say, oh, maybe there was something more skillful that could have been done. But it's not the voice that seeks to take away any satisfaction or to destroy any happiness, to make a problem where a problem doesn't have to be. Walk yourself all the way back up. And again, if you can, continue to balance here with that left knee bent, keep it bent. If you need to straighten it out, go ahead and do that. Pull that right knee in towards your chest. Start with the right hand reaching for the baby toe of your right foot. Elbow is inside the knee. Take that right leg straight out to the side, straight out to the right. Good. Left arm can extend out to the left so that you have, again, a sense of balance, that the whole body is working in this balance pose. Squeeze the upper arms into the center of the back. Roll towards the front edge of your sit bones. If your knee is slightly bent, that's fine. Just push your foot into your hand and pull that shoulder, pull that arm into the shoulder socket, and you'll still get a nice connection to the back of the leg. Good. Try not to look so miserable. There you go. Beautiful. Now take that leg straight forward in front of you, still holding the foot or the ankle. Bring the other hand forward as well. So both hands reaching for the extended leg anywhere that you can reach. Lift your chest a little higher, drawing your belly towards your thigh. And then as you exhale, bow forward, dropping the head towards your leg any amount. Good. And then slowly release, please. Hugging that knee in towards your chest. Good job. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Knees drop wide. Baddha Konasana. Wiggle your butt back if you need, or use a prop underneath your seat. And then forward fold. Again, nothing fancy. So to chant the Hanuman Chalisa, I think, is to, again, or to listen to it, is to hear all of the attributes of Hanuman and remember that they existed even when he forgot who he was. And they existed every time he made a mistake. And it existed every time that he came up against failure, despair, sorrow. That it never changed that greatness a single bit. It only gave him direction to keep seeking it, to become it more. And when we're in that mode, right, where we're open to our completeness at all times, then fear disappears. Walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Stretch your legs out in front of you, please. Point the toes. Take your hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Good. So a reverse plank. If this position you know is a little tough on the shoulders or any other part of you, you can bend your knees, plant your feet, and come into reverse table as well. But if you've got those hands planted, a little bend to your elbows, toes pointed, squeeze those inner thighs together, lift your hips up off the floor like you're going to take your feet flat to the floor, chest lifts, hips lift. Good. Making that inclined body. Beautiful. Long throat. Nice, you guys. What happens if you lift your right foot up off the floor? Oh, you're like, nothing good. Left toes up off the floor, left foot up off the floor. Nice. And release, deep breath in and release the hips to the floor. Good job, you guys. Find your way onto your backs. I know, I'm done torturing you, almost. What does it take for you to recognize your greatness? And that your perfection is not in never making a mistake, but your perfection is moving through what you move through with grace. Bend your knees, please. Good. Bring the knees all the way in towards your chest. Cross your right thigh over the left, wrapping the legs for eagle. The right thigh over left. Bring the shins together, so eagle legs. And bring your left arm over top of the right in front of your chest, so full eagle pose on your back. I know some of you are trying to do Gomukhasana, and I keep saying eagle, Garudasana, and you're just doing something else. So squeeze your shins together. Low back anchored to the floor. Don't let your arms drop onto your face, please. Lift them up. Good. Finding the wideness of your shoulders, the wideness of your back. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring the elbows and knees together, rounding the back. Squeeze. So a little abdominal curl. Good. And then slowly release, please. Unwinding the legs and the arms. Come into happy baby, knees wide. Reach for your ankles or your feet. Good. Breathing wide through the back of the spine, back of the heart. Nice. And then bring the knees back towards each other. Cross the left thigh over top of the right. So eagle on the other side. Right arm crosses over top of left in front of your chest. And again, if this is not the second side for you, then just make sure you cross the other leg on top, opposite arm on top. Good. Squeezing the shins together. Again, not letting the forearms fall onto the face. You keep that lift so that your arms stay really plugged into the shoulders, into the chest. Good. And just find your whole spine first. I know it's a lot of work to hold it here, isn't it? Then a deep breath in. Then as you exhale, curl, bring the elbows and knees together into that rounded eagle position. And then slowly release, unwind the legs, unwind the arms. Happy baby one more time. Reach for the ankles or the feet. To be without fear is to live in that blue sky. Good. Bring the knees back together, please. Hug. And scoot your hips over to the left. Drop your knees to the right. the arms go wide. Let your chest go wide. Let your mind go wide. Again, starting to move yourself back in that direction of the headless meditation. Or if you ask the question, what would happen if I gave up all of my fear, all of my resentment, all of my insecurities, my anxieties, all the things that I have built up from a lifetime of wondering, who am I? You just dump it into that blue sky. Come back to center, please. Scoot your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left. And what you're left with is a blue sky that is as perfect and complete as it was before you began dumping all of that in. And our minds can't fathom that. We keep going up to that edge over and over again, dumping everything into that blue sky until that's all that we see. All the other stuff disappears into that. Bring the knees back to center. Good. One more squeeze of the knees if you'd like. A little hugging into a little ball. Forehead up to meet your knees. Pressing down through the lower back, squeezing the belly. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms facing up. And let yourself go back into that headless meditation where at the top of your throat, there is no head, there's just that blue sky. And whatever would normally be your thoughts that are contained in the mind, you just dump it into that space. Because it can hold that and more. And its completeness, its perfection is not changed a single bit. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Letting the body begin to stretch and move, whatever ways serve it well. And I always say when I offer a headless meditation that you put your head back on only at your own choice. If you want to leave it behind, leave it behind. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. And again, just taking a moment to acknowledge that the villains in your lives, whether they are big ones or little ones, or the villainous thoughts that live in your mind, that these are opportunities. They're either driving us, they are driving us towards our greatness, to seek it, to seek completeness, to seek wholeness, to seek healing. But if we let them drive us in the other direction, away from that feeling of completeness, then we become the same as what we are afraid of, right? So our villainous selves or our villainous thoughts become overcome, or we overcome them when we are in that state where we know that our innate goodness, our innate perfection is not lessened by anything that has ever occurred in our lives or anything that ever can occur. It cannot be lessened. So we start to approach that over and over again. And we start to see others in our lives as, again, those driving forces that make us meet ourselves. And by doing that, we figure out the way to bring them into the energy of unity instead of us continuing to pull away because of them. If that makes sense. So can you erase that line between your villains, your enemies, and your friends, and instead just have a space where you are looking for the wholeness of you and me together, us together? Removing fear is when there's no longer that line that separates you and me. So if you're not sure how to do it, listen to the Hanuman Chalisa. I'm told that that's all you need. We'll close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night. You will sleep well, I'm sure.